Welcome to Fox and Friends. It is Election Day. It's Tuesday, November 5th, and in-person voting is now underway in some key battleground states.
The polls are now open in North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Georgia, parts of Michigan, any one of which could be the deciding factor on who wins the White House.
That's right. Those are the swing states. We have live team coverage in 3 of those key swing states. As you can see right there, screen left, Pete Hegseth is at the Coop in Waukesha, Wisconsin. Rachel Campos-Duffy is at the Superior Restaurant, as you can see right there, in Pennsylvania. And Will Cain is at the Sweet Spot in Concord, North Carolina.
But first, let's go to Brian Yennis, who's live at all the important Bucks County in Pennsylvania. Voting gets underway in the Keystone State. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Lawrence, good morning. Happy Election Day to you. And really, the eyes of America and the world are on Pennsylvania and here in Bucks County. Let's take a look at the line that has formed out here at this polling station here. You can see this polling place has about 150 to 200 people already. There is an excitement here. We spoke to the very first person who got here at 5:20 in the morning. His name is Bill Effing, a 73-year-old. And we also spoke to an 18-year-old. His name is Chris. It's his first election, and both say they're going for former President Trump. And
Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Keep going. They said to keep going.
Just roll them.
Little problem with our transmission right there.
Looks like a long line, though.
Yep,
Yeah.
and they're moving.
Yeah, they are.
All right. Now let's go to the Superior Diner in Pennsylvania, Rachel Campos-Duffy. Hey, Rachel.
Hey guys, I'm here with some businessmen. This gentleman, what's your name?
George McCool.
George sells medical devices. What has the economic environment been for you? Can you compare Kamala Harris's and Joe Biden's economy to the Trump economy for your specific business?
I think the price of everything has gone up dramatically over the last 4 years, and you can equate that to the price of fuel, the price of goods. And I think if we get the price of fuel and oil down, that's really going to start to help with the transportation of things and start to bring prices back down.
That's your top issue, the economy.
The economy is a top issue.
Another businessman here, he has a print shop. Tell me how the economy has been affecting you and your business.
Yeah, I think just the cost of goods has really gone through the roof. So the cost to print our shirts, the cost to buy our shirts, it really gets to the point, how much can you charge for a T-shirt to your customers? So the cost of goods has really been going.
You're voting for Trump?
I am voting for Trump.
You think it's going to turn around quickly?
Well, he was in office before. I think, his economy was pretty good when he was in. So I think he'll do it again, yeah.
All right, let's talk to these guys here because they say their top issue is the border. Tell me why.
We have young children, and every day you turn on the news and you see scary things happening, and it's happening everywhere in the country. So you don't ever want that to hit too close to home.
Paternal instinct kicking in. Protection. We talked about that. All right, what's your name?
Jackie.
Your issue also the border.
Yes, I'm a teacher, so I'm very protective of my own children and all my students. I want them to be safe, grow up in the environment like we all did, that sense of community, and not have to fear that stuff coming in.
And this is?
Terry Mirth.
What is it?
Terry Mirth.
Terry, you're a grandma. Tell me about your thoughts on the election from the perspective of a grandmother.
Well, I want my grandchildren to grow up the way my children did and the way I did, in a free country, to be able to do the things that you want to do and not to have to worry about all the wokeness that now has become the norm. We also need to take care of our veterans. We need to take care of our senior citizens, and I don't want to see that money going toward illegal immigrants. We need to close that border, and we need to close it right away.
All right, you're hearing that from Pennsylvania, the state that might decide this election. A little later, we're going to have Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, with us, and I think he's going to flip some pancakes. So stay with us. Back to you guys.
All right. Thank you, Rachel.
Doing a lot. They're doing a lot of walking. Is that an homage to me?
Yes.
They're trying to get in their steps.
You taught us all how to do it.
And Will Cain is somebody who walks backwards. This is something pretty
He's
impressive.
live at the Sweet Spot in Concord, North Carolina. The polls are now open. Hey, Will.
The Sweet Spot.
I didn't realize
I didn't realize Brian had patented walking. So I'm going to stand still here so make sure I don't have any copyright infringements. You know, I was thinking last night, guys, Brian Ainsley, Steve, Lawrence, I was thinking about this election, and one of the issues that we don't, I think, talk enough about is we're hiring the next commander-in-chief. And often the presidencies are defined by something they don't see coming. That's often safety, security on the world stage. I've got veterans all around me. I've got Jim, a Korean War veteran, Mike, a Vietnam veteran. Thank you guys for your service. Mike, tell me what's important to you in this election.
Well, first of all, I'd like to see us get a commander-in-chief that'll get our military back to the level it should be. Also, I'd like to have a commander-in-chief that our allies respect and a commander-in-chief that our enemies respect and fear. That's what we need in this country.
I appreciate your service. Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you, Jim. We also have Glenn, by the way. Glenn's a Vietnam War vet. Thank you, Glenn. What do you feel about this election and when it comes to hiring a commander-in-chief?
The past ones that Donald Trump had were, he just didn't realize what Washington was like. And the generals in the Pentagon, they're only there to get promoted. So they're more political than they are warriors. And he needs to find the proper one to be the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
And you feel like he's the right one to be commander-in-chief?
Absolutely.
Here we go. You know, we're doing a little horse race politics here. I was asking everybody how they feel about North Carolina. One of the big concerns is, well, the Republican Governor Mark Robinson not looking good. How could that affect Donald Trump? But Donnie said that you're not worried about the effect of the governor's race on the presidential race.
I'm not especially here in North Carolina. Normally, you know, Trump won in 2016 and 2020, but we got a Democratic governor. So I think the party gets split on the ticket.
Happens a lot.
It does, and here is especially. I think Trump has a lot of support here, and it won't necessarily affect the rest of the rest of the ticket. Won't affect him.
I mean, it's a split state. Happens a lot here in North Carolina. Finally, you know, I heard Rachel talking in Pennsylvania. It is the #1 issue, no matter which state you go into, and that's the economy. Lori was telling me about the biggest issues for you voting.
One of my issues is I used to pay for my insurance, you know, in segments, and now I have to pay by monthly. And when I moved here 8 years ago, I was paying 79.99 cents for eggs, and now they're up to $3 a dozen.
Right. And your mom lives with you, Joan. Good morning, Joan. Good morning.
One of my thing is the economy and I'm a senior and I have Social Security. However, I am blessed because I have other resources and I live with my daughter. But my insurance in the car has gone up almost double in the last 3 years, and I don't know how seniors can keep up with this.
We were talking about this. How do you manage fixed income with this kind of inflation? It's almost impossible. But that's where we are right now in North Carolina. Polls are open in North Carolina. People out there have left. Some have left to go to the polls. Now we're going to leave North Carolina and go back to you in New York.
All right. Thank you very much. And as we look at North Carolina, you know, the polls are going to close tonight. One place where the polls open and close within a matter of minutes is Dixville Notch in the great state of New Hampshire. In 2020, Joe Biden swept. But last night, at the stroke of midnight, all 6 residents came in. It was a tie. 3 for Donald Trump and 3 for Joe Biden.
Is that
split right down the middle, just like the whole country?
Because last year was 8.
Right.
Last year was 6. Well, actually, 2016 it was 8. Yeah, you had 2 that voted for Hillary, 4 for Trump, 1 for Gary Johnson, and 1 for Mitt Romney. Then in 2020, Biden got the 6 votes,
got them all.
And now there's 6. So I don't know if 2 people passed
Some
away
people
or
moved
2 people
away.
died. I mean, two people moved.
I find fascinating New Hampshire, Virginia, maybe Kansas, Minnesota,
It's in the
all those that
conversation.
don't get heavily polled.
Yeah.
And you wonder. I remember Governor Sununu about a month ago came in and said, I don't know why there's not more Trump infrastructure in New Hampshire because it's wide open, because they're angry at the Democrats for pulling that first primary out. And I think that matters a lot. So I'm very curious to see those late pushes into New Hampshire by J.D. Vance. I think the president went there once, if it's going to produce anything.
Well, speaking of late pushes, in Wisconsin, let's go to Pete Hegseth. He's live at the Coop in Waukesha. Pete, the polls are going to close there at 9 o'clock Eastern time, but they won't probably finish counting until tomorrow. So people are going to be on pins and needles in Wisconsin.
I know, especially in the city of Milwaukee, where it's traditionally taken a lot more time. And that's a part of the concern for voters here. Will the vote outside of Milwaukee be large enough to overcome what happens in that city? And then how long is the delay in that city as well? So voters here, enthusiastic this morning, for sure. Because as we said before, it's true. The polls don't matter anymore. The pundits don't matter anymore. It is we the people on Election Day. And in Wisconsin, they're voting for a lot of people. I mean, a lot of eyes on your state tonight. So, Steve, first of all, what issue motivated you to go to the polls? Or you're going to the polls in an hour.
Yes, I'll be there first thing right after breakfast, and securing the border, foreign policy, election integrity. It's all really, really important. And I'm voting for Trump and Hovde.
And we're going to have Eric Hovde on the program in a little bit. How you feeling give our viewers, how you feeling about Wisconsin this cycle?
Well, I really think that Trump and Hovde, I think the Republicans are going to win. It's going to be close, but there's just too much silliness going on out there with this current administration. And so I think the Republicans are going to take it. Yeah.
Jenny, you and your husband voted early. You helped your sons submit absentee ballots. They're in college, so you banked 4 votes already. How you feeling about the election here in Wisconsin?
Good. There's been a lot of interest in us, of course, because we're a swing state, and I've seen a lot more ground activity than we have in the past, and a lot more signs and enthusiastic rallies. They've had a lot of visits to Wisconsin, so that's been great to see that too.
No doubt. And as far as issues that you and your husband are voting on behalf of all strong, intelligent women, what matters the most to you?
For us, it's the economy. We have 3 boys. One just finished college, and he's has a great job, but living at home, trying to get a house someday. And we have 2 more boys finishing college this year, so we hope they have good careers and can get a job and afford things. So that's
really is the basics, isn't it?
Basics. That's just afford things at the grocery store like we used to. So,
no doubt.
Yeah.
You heard there, more ground activity in Wisconsin than we've seen before. And Will, you talked to some great vets, and thank you for their service. We've got one here too. Sir, what's your name?
Jack Seguin, yeah, hi.
Jack, what'd you do in the military?
I served during the Cuban Missile Crisis, and I used to shoot missiles and knock planes out of the sky, and I don't want to see them landing here. That's my main motivation. and I am so afraid that these people do not stand up to other foreign leaders like Trump does and tells them where to go. And that's what we need. We need people who are respected by our enemies and will calm down. And Trump's good at that.
There we go. Sir, thank you for your service. Appreciate you. Absolutely. All right, there it is from Waukesha, Wisconsin at the Coop. Come on out if you're in the area. A lot of folks heading to the polls in about, 50 minutes here.
That's right.
Nice, Pete. Thank you very much. We're covering it all, but last night I was watching as late as I could. I watched the second to last rally, and President Trump just said, I have the greatest kids. Can they just come up here? Yeah. And can they all come up?
Oh, he did that in I watched the last one. He did it in that one, too.
Yeah, so I just saw him. I felt like it was really unusual for Trump and ad lib. But he just understands. One thing he didn't point out is whatever you think about Trump or whatever happens, that family has sacrificed a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about their kids going to school. And of course, the people, 74 million people voted for him, but if 70, 80 million didn't. And that ripples throughout the family. And they basically had to put the business on hold. That's what they do for a living.
Right.
So they've been together, and they haven't fractured.
I also think it highlights the contrast of ending the campaign with family, because for so many Americans, that's what it's about. It's about the family. It's about being able to afford certain things. It's about the safety of their family.
Right.
And you compare and contrast that to the way that Kamala Harris decided to end her campaign with the celebrities, the elites, the people that don't matter.
Yeah.
Here's a little bit of that.
Oprah.
Today is the day that we send a loud and clear message to the mainstream media, to the establishment, to Hollywood, to the swamp, that it is not them.
Thank you, guys. Today, when you wake up with not very much sleep, you gotta get to the polls. You know who's standing on the stage at 2 a.m.? It's Donald Trump. America, it's time for us to pick our fighter, and it's that man right there.
The My father has never stopped, and he will never stop working for you guys.
So Donald Trump wrapped up the campaign, essentially, last night in Grand Rapids. He has ended both of his previous campaigns at that particular town. He said, maybe I'm a little superstitious. I don't know. I don't know.
He's very superstitious.
I was reading, and this is a jaw-dropping number, but the Daily Mail said that essentially during the last 10 years, Donald Trump has done 900 rallies. So last night, he would have wrapped up about the 900th. Meantime, you know, Lawrence, you were talking a little bit about Kamala Harris. She went knocking on doors in Pennsylvania. She was also with a bunch of celebrities like Lady Gaga, Oprah, Ricky, Roots, Katy Perry. We got a snippet of her wrap-up, also in Pennsylvania, right here.
Our campaign has tapped into the ambitions and the aspirations and the dreams of the American people. And we know it is time for a new generation of leadership in America.
If we don't show up tomorrow, it is entirely possible that we will not have the opportunity to ever cast a ballot again.
I cast my vote for someone who will be a president for all Americans.
Maria? Hi. Hi. I'm a happy yes. Oh my God. How are you? I'm good. It's the day before the election, but I just wanted to come by and say I hope to earn your vote.
So there you go.
Hey,
No, they had to
look who's
vet them.
here.
For safety reasons, they have to vet them. So she's going to the houses probably that had Kamala stickers or whatever in their front yard, people that they knew were going to support her and be happy to see her. But Donald Trump could do the same thing and people would go crazy to see him. Look, I was in a taxi and the driver was saying, is Donald Trump really going to take away our Social Security? I said, no, that's a lie. That's what they're going with now. He wants to actually not tax your Social Security check. Every ad I'm seeing, he's going to ban abortion. That's not true. He sent it back to the states. Every ad says he's attached to Project 2025. That is not true. It is these are lies that they're spreading to get people scared. It's a scare tactic to get them to go to the polls. And then bringing out the celebrities. The celebrities cannot relate to the average American. Did y'all see the lady on Instagram? She was on Laura Ingram's show. She was crying and saying, my husband's working job after job, taking anything he can. My child hurt her eye. She had to go to the doctor. We went to 3 doctors. It costs like $150, $100, $300. She said, so when these celebrities tell me that I should vote with my heart and it should be emotional, she said, we can't afford anything. She said, we were debt-free under Donald Trump, and now our credit cards are maxed out.
I was watching CNN a little bit, and they said, isn't this getting a little eerie? Is exactly what Hillary Clinton did at the end. Don't, at the very least, if you're superstitious, why are you doing the same thing by closing with celebrities? You get big crowds, and it gets you delusional that they like you. They're there before the celebrities.
Well, you know, Ainsley, to your point, there's been a lot of disinformation, misinformation out there. Yesterday, it was the daughter of Martin Luther King Jr., Bernice King, said, hey, there's a deep fake video out there that shows my father endorsing Donald Trump. She said that's fake and asked that it be deleted. But we've seen
everybody knows that, too.
Right. He died decades ago. So the other thing is...
I mean, that's not funny, but it's funny that people would believe that.
In January, though, we saw robocalls where artificial intelligence also made it seem like Joe Biden is calling me up and saying, don't vote. So that's why, and I'm sure you've seen the coverage here on the channel, the FBI's got a command post. They're set up if there's any trouble. But at the same time, you know, there's a lot, just know, there's a lot of misinformation out there.
And the lines are going to be long today. Wait in line, vote. If you're upset, think about all the diners and barbershops that we've gone, people complaining about their current circumstance.
Yeah.
This is the opportunity to do something about it.
Right.
You cannot look at the polls. You can't say, this is the final poll, is what you do today.
And make sure when you vote, we talked to someone here on our staff that voted, and there are 2 columns for Donald Trump because he's with 2 different parties.
Conservative and Republican.
Conservative and Republican. There are 2 columns for Kamala Harris. And this person circled both Trump twice, so the vote doesn't count. So make sure you only vote once for each candidate.
That's right.
I just got a message, if I can just share it. Babe Ruth is going going to endorse Trump.
Is that a fact?
Yeah, that's good. So that's pretty good. He's a slugger.
So
Very
out of
popular in
deep
New York.
Remember,
Really?
New York.
Is that real? Is that true? Okay.
If
That'll
you-
really influence my vote,
Absolutely.
if you don't vote, you can't complain. And I tell you, America likes to complain.
Right, but not Brett and Martha.
No, no, no.
They're going to be doing special coverage for us today at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be great.
You can't say their names without hearing that music.
This is true.
Even in the hall. Every time you say their name, you just hear the music go out.
Also, House Speaker Mike Johnson is on the ground with Rachel in Battleground, Pennsylvania, talking to the voters this election day.
I do well with Hispanics. A poll just came out. I'm at 56% with Hispanics compared to this woman who was at 36%.
With your vote, we're going to win Pennsylvania, and we're going to defeat Kamala and those radical left.
We are not going back because America is ready for a fresh start. We need everyone to vote Pennsylvania. You will make the difference in this election.
Former President Trump and VP Harris back in Pennsylvania hours before the polls open, looking to win over key voters, including the over 500,000 Latinos in the Commonwealth who could help decide this election.
Well, Fox and Friends co-host on the weekend, Rachel Campos-Duffy, to applause right there, is with the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, live from the swing state right now. Rachel, take it away.
Hey guys, it's so great to be here. We're at the Superior Restaurant here in Pennsylvania, and I'm here with Speaker Johnson. Before we get into my first question, you and I were flipping pancakes. By the way, he didn't know he had to wait for the bubbles before he flipped, but I
do
taught
hash
him.
browns. I don't do pancakes.
All right, so we did the pancake thing. You've been with the president. You told me he said to you that he was going to leave nothing on the table.
Yeah, about 7 weeks ago, we were backstage at the Washington Hilton, and he had done, I think, 5 events in 3 states that day. We were touching gloves before we went out to separate and do the swing states again. And he got up, buttoned his coat. His staff said, "Sir, we got to go. The pilots are going to time out." And I just told him, I said, "Mr. President, your stamina inspires all of us. It's amazing. You don't have to do this. You had a great life, you know. You're taking literal bullets for the team, for the country." And you know what he told me? He said, "Mike, we have to leave it all on the field." He said, "What if we lost? We'd never be able to live with ourselves. What if we could have done one more event, one more town, one more venue, shaken one more hand?" I said, "Sir, that is so inspiring." So the next morning, we had all the House Republicans together for breakfast, and I told them that story. And I said, if our nominee for president will leave it all on the field like that, work every day. He told his staff to book every hour of every day until the election. You've seen he's done it.
Yeah.
If he can do that, we have to do the same. All of us have to do the same for the country.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about the Hispanic vote, because as you know, there was that unfortunate joke at the at Madison Square Garden. The Democrats definitely tried to capitalize on that. The Hispanic vote, very important in this state. What are you seeing? You've been here on the ground.
I have been everywhere. We've been in Pennsylvania, of course, but I've done campaign events in over 260 cities across 40 states. We did 2 in Virginia yesterday. We've been all over the place. So there are people coming to the events, Rachel, that have never been there before. And I think the Hispanic and Latino vote is going to be historic this time. I think there's going to be a demographic shift. I think they're coming our way because they see the Democratic Party has abandoned the values of the community. And they've opened the border wide, and that frustrates that community as much as anybody. I think this is going to be a big one. We're going to make history here.
I was just going to ask you, what do you think is going to happen in this state of Pennsylvania?
I think we can win Pennsylvania. Is Trump going to win Pennsylvania?
What's the Trump shot at a clean sweep of all the swing states? And just be honest with us.
Listen, my gut tells me that we are going to outperform the polls, okay? The polls have them about even. Everybody says it's a coin toss. If that's true, Trump always outperforms the polls. I believe it. But I want to say every single vote counts, especially in the swing states. Take nothing for granted. We need every single vote today.
All right. Well, there's some folks that have some questions for you, Speaker. So we're going to start with you, Bob.
Yes. Hi, Mr. Speaker. Welcome to Allentown. With the energy policies that as they are now, if President Trump gets in, do you feel that we have a great opportunity to not only become energy independent but energy dominant?
Absolutely, we do. I'm from an energy state, Louisiana. I live on top of the Haynesville Shale, one of the biggest natural gas plays. We need to frack, frack, frack. Don't we? Do y'all agree with that? Yes. President Trump does as well, and he knows that that's the key not only to our economy, energy policy, but also energy policy is national security policy because it's tied directly to our ability to compete on the world stage and to trade with our partners. Our European allies need LNG exports desperately. President Trump will turn the spigots back on.
All right, this is
April.
April, what's your question for the speaker?
How do you feel about prices now going up, down with Trump hopefully Trump getting elected?
Yeah, no matter where I am around the country, the number one concern is the cost of living and the border, those two things, but usually cost of living. Moms and dads having to get second and third jobs just to put groceries on the table, it's not sustainable. So what President Trump will do in a Republican-led Congress, because we got to win the Senate and the House as well, I think we will, is that we'll turn the economy back on. We'll unleash the free market again. How? We extend the Trump-era tax cuts, and then we take a blowtorch to the regulatory state, okay? We're going to get the government off the backs of job creators and entrepreneurs and risk takers, and that is what will unleash the economy again, like we did in the first Trump administration.
You know, it's been interesting. The economy and inflation, definitely the number one issue, but I was fascinated when I was right here in this restaurant. So many people said the border was their top issue, and it was crime and it was illegality, but I also got the sense that it's the sense of fairness, especially when I talked to some of the Latino voters in here who went through the process legally.
Yeah. Well, that's right. I mean, people are so concerned about the open border. It's been a catastrophe to the country in so many ways. Fentanyl is the leading cause of death now for Americans aged 18 to 49 flowing over the border. All these problems.
We got one more question from this guy. Come on over here.
Buddy.
What's your name?
Caleb.
Caleb, what's your question for the speaker?
As Speaker, how would you support Donald Trump?
How would I support Donald Trump? Every single day, buddy. Every single day. President Trump and I have a great relationship. We've been working together for about 8 years, and he's got big plans for the country, and we're going to help him implement that. You watch football? You a football fan? He's going to be like the head coach. I'm the quarterback. We're going to score, okay? We're going to score for the country. All right?
Right on. Awesome. Back to you guys. That was awesome, Caleb. Thanks. He's got his fight sweatshirt on. Yeah. Thanks, you guys.
Hey,
right back to you.
Hey, Rachel, the speaker does a great Donald Trump impersonation. And I like to know what Donald Trump, if Donald Trump was watching him at the diner, what he would think of Speaker Johnson's performance as Donald Trump.
Oh, do you want me to ask the speaker that?
Yeah, tell him as Donald Trump.
He does an impersonation of Donald Trump.
They want to know what Donald Trump, they want you to do an impersonation of Donald Trump.
Good
Come on. Come on.
Mike, you got to make it too big to rig. We got to make it too big to rig. That's the thing. That's right. All of us. Look, every single vote counts. Go make it count. We got to do this. You're straight out of Central Casting. We love you, America. We love Pennsylvania. I love Pennsylvania.
You know, if the political thing doesn't work out, he could go to Vegas, baby.
We just need a beautiful in there somewhere. Right?
All right.
A big, beautiful wall.
Very nice. You don't get that on the other channels, folks. All right. Meanwhile, from Lancaster County to Bucks County in Pennsylvania, let's go back to Brian Yinnis. Brian, apologies. We had a little snafu earlier, but there you are.
Hey, good morning, guys. That's right. All of the eyes of the world, the eyes of this country are on Pennsylvania and Bucks County. And as we were saying, there was a huge line this morning right before the polls opened. And I got to say, it's been very smooth. Everyone's going in and out. We did speak to the first person in line who got here at 5:20 in the morning. And he's a 73-year-old retired guy, Bill Effing. He's going for former President Trump. And then we also found an 18-year-old voting in his first election. He, too, is going for the former president. This is what they had to say.
President Trump has me very excited about the country, and I figure get here early. I don't like standing in line either, so I want to see a difference, a different path for the country, and I think he's the way.
I'm going to go Trump because I want to make sure our country is strong, and I mean it's the only option, because if we go the other way, then I don't even want to talk about what's going to happen.
So here in Pennsylvania, the count is also beginning with the mail ballots. This is a live look inside the warehouse in Philadelphia, where 195,000 mail ballots will start to be processed. It already started at 7 o'clock this morning. Now begin to open up these envelopes for the mail ballots at 7 a.m., take out the ballot, and then flatten it out and start putting it through the machines. This is a process that takes time, which is why we will not expect a result result here right at 8 o'clock, though the counties and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania say they have better equipment, they have more experience, and there are far fewer mail ballots than there were in 2020, so they expect this process to be quicker. The polls close at 8 p.m. The electoral votes, 19 here. It is the biggest prize. And a note for our viewers, remember when the polls close here at 8 p.m., there will be what's called a blue mirage. That is that all these mail ballots that have been processed beginning at 7 a.m., they will be tallied quickly, and so it'll look like the Democrats are ahead quicker, and then as the day and the night goes on, more mixed ballots. Guys.
We saw a little of that last time. All right, Brian, thank you very much from a foggy Pennsylvania.
Could come down to that state.
No kidding.
I've heard that.
Breakfast with Friends continues across the swing state. Pete gets the pulse of the people over pancakes in Wisconsin, and Will takes us to North Carolina, where he's in the...
Where are you from?
Glen Ellen, Illinois.
And did you vote?
Yes.
Did you want to say hi to anybody?
I want to say hi to my lovely wife.
All right, nicely done. Your name?
I'm Jen.
And where are you from?
Jersey City.
And did you vote?
Yes.
Excellent, excellent news. Let's take a look at the rest of the country. Here in New York, not a big deal, but we are worried about swing states like Michigan. We could see the potential of showers and thunderstorms, as well as Wisconsin, where we could see rain in the forecast and a little bit of snow. So those are the two areas that I'm watching in terms of swing states, but we don't have any severe weather, so that's the good news. In North Carolina, by the way, we do have some rain in the western part of the state, so we'll continue to keep you up to date. There it is. There is North Carolina, where we go over to Will, my friend, at a diner eating and meeting the folks. Hi, Will. Hi, everybody.
Hey, Janice. Good morning to you. Welcome to North Carolina, Concord, North Carolina, just down the road from Kannapolis, the home of Dale Earnhardt. That's where Phil's from, and Phil and I were just talking about this is the big day. People here have said they voted this morning, they voted early, some saying this is their tradition, they're going to vote this evening. What's the most important issue as you're voting, Phil?
The economy, always the economy. This current administration attacked the oil and gas industry the first week they were in office, and we've all been paying a price for it ever since. Inflation didn't have to be this bad, but everything is delivered by truck.
You're telling me, Phil, exactly. It started overnight when they attacked oil and gas, and even if you don't drive a car, it impacts you. Your food prices, everything is transported in America. I found these two ladies fascinating. Julie and Rachel, first of all. Rachel, where are you from?
Scotland.
But you're an American citizen now?
Yes, I am.
And you came through the southern border?
I did.
She's from Scotland, American citizen. And Julie's lived all over. Julie, you lived in Latin America, and that informs your decision today.
Very much so. I have lived in Peru, Argentina, and Mexico, and I've seen firsthand and lived the experience, what happens when the liberals take over and socialism takes over for current day Iguala.
And what does that mean for you and who you support for president?
Oh, Trump all the way. I supported him in 2016, I guess it was, and I flew from Mexico to Arizona, where I owned a property at that time, to vote. I'm absolutely I'm conservative, and his
fascinating world experiences from them both. But you know, let's be local. North Carolina, right? It's been in the news, not just today, but because of the devastation in western North Carolina a few weeks ago. These folks here are from the mountains. They told me they drove all the way over from the mountains, and Caroline was saying, Caroline was telling me about the turnout in the mountains from people who were a part of that devastation.
The turnout? Well, the mountain people are kind of a peculiar people, and they show up when they are devastated. And they were devastated that the government and FEMA did not show up to help. And so they're going to, if they can, they're going to turn out to vote to change the vote.
Western North Carolina going to show up. I want to share two things with you before I go. So Tyler, first of all, show me this. Let me see this. Here's a picture of Rachel right now in Pennsylvania, and his mom's in the background. Tyler's mom.
الحمد لله بقيت اتعافى يعني. دي يا جماعه اللي يستخدم القلايات دي لازم يستخدم الحاجات دي عشان ما تتجرحش. نرجع لمرجوعنا بقى، نبتدي نحط الربة ونحط المش ونجهز الدنيا. تحفة تحفة. قلت بما ان فاطمه ملهاش في المش قوي فممكن احط لها جبنه بيض اللي هي عبورلاند دي، احط لها حته كده من نفسها عشان ابقى روقت عليها وهي نازله الجامعه. خبرتي الضعيفه بقى في المطبخ يا جماعه، عرفت ان البيض المفروض بيتقلب بزيت ذره او سمنه، فانا بفكر اقلب سمنه كده عشان ايه نتغذى اليومين دول. يلا بينا نجيب معلقه بقى تانية خالص. مش عارف انا متوتر ليه رغم ان انا حاسس ان انا انجزت حاجه كويسه. حلوه الحته دي كده على قد البيضتين بالظبط. بتدوب كده في الحاجات. البطاطس ناقصلها سيكه كده وايه وتستوي، انا بحب ان هي ايه تطلع البطاطس مقرمشه. مش عارف والله، انا حاسس ان انا لو فشلت في الاكل اللي انا عملته ده ولا اللي بيتعمل ده مش هعمل فيديوهات تاني، نفسي هتتسد. في ناس بتحب البيض ناشف يا جماعه وفي ناس بتحب البيض يبقى طري. انا بحبه اللي هو وسط، ولا ناشف قوي ولا طري قوي. شايفين يا جماعه البيضه طالعه ازاي؟ عارفين جوسي كده زي ما بيقولوا. حط بقى كده التاتش الاخير. عالمي عالمي. والحمد لله يا جماعه خلصت الاكل كله. واخر مرحله في الفطار ان انا احط العيش في الميكرويف عشان يسخن كده ونعرف ناكل. بس هضطر ان انا اقفل الفيديو واشغله من تاني بس عشان ايه هشيل فيشه الرينج لايت واحط الميكرويف مكانه. كده يا جماعه اللحظه الحاسمه، جاهزين تشوفوا دلوقتي الترابيزه عامله ازاي؟ دلوقتي طبعا كله هيقول انتوا ليه ما اكلتوش على السفره؟ لا بصوا يا جماعه احنا بنحب الحاجات السيمبل، السفره دي بقى للضيوف والكلام ده. يلا بينا نشوف الفطار عامل ازاي. ننادي بقى على فاطمه يا جماعه نشوف خلصت ولا لا. فاطمه تعالي يا ماما يلا. يلا في طفل بيقوق تحت. يا حاج
يا راعي ايه رايك؟ ايه ده جوزي شطور يا جماعه.
ايه رايك؟ شوف قلت اروق عليك كده وانت نازل الجامعه بامان. حلو والله.
والله انا جعانه فعلا
بس ما تتعوديش على كده. قلت كده اروق عليك وانت رايحه الجامعه.
ده يا صباح الخير قوي.
يا صباح الفل قوي.
ده احلى مورنينج ده ولا ايه؟
حلو والله بجد.
والله
يعني انفع بامانه. اصل حاسس ان انا انجزت. ده انا بقالي كتير من ساعه ما انت دخلت غيرت هدومي.
انت بتهزر والله
العظيم.
كل ده؟ يا رب ده انا بقعد ادي كده في الهدوم.
اتفحت في البطاطس المحمره دي، هي طالعه تعبانه شويه مجهده شويه. مجهده شويه.
عمايل ده احمد
بتقرمش.
فيها حته صغننه.
لا فيها والله حتت كتير بتقرمش.
الكاميرا.
لا والله فيها حتت كتير بتقرمش.
سامية طعمها حلو والله.
بجد؟
ايه بقى عشان جعانه.
طب ايه طيب؟
جعانه مش قادره.
طب هو ده مش هينفع يرجع تاني؟ يلا بقى عشان اجوعت بصراحه يا جماعه. المهم ان نوص الفيديو ده يعني بالحاجات اللي انت شايفاها دي.
احمد تعب يا عيني.
نوص الفيديو والله البطاطس خدت مني وقت كتير قوي.
عشان تعرف صحيني يوم صباحيتي كنت بعمل لك اكل.
طيب يا جماعه عايزين نوصل الفيديو ده بقى لاكبر عدد من اللايكات عشان في يعني في الفيديو اللي جاي حاجه تعجبكم تحفه. تحفه. يلا يا جماعه ما تنسوش تعملوا اشتراك